Welcome to They Talk Funny. My guest today is, let's face it, SiriusXM top comic winner, Juno nominee, uh, fantastic comic all around, CBC Debaters regular. Please put your hands together for the fantastic Derek Seguin. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I am well. I am well. This is They Talk Funny. We're going to be talking about comedy writing, but Derek has a special prize for anyone. So we're going to be doing a giveaway. So those, I see a couple people turning in right away. Just type #win into the chat, and you'll have a chance to win tickets to the new PanDerek show happening online on May 21st. And also the CD. Is it going to be May Contain Nuts or your previous one,
No, it's this one.
Newfie Octopus? Oh, it's a PanDerek.
Yeah, it's the new CD, the new
Oh wow,
album.
there's a new CD. Okay,
Well, that's the one that's nominated for a Juno.
that's nominated for a Juno.
Hmm.
Newfie Octopus is one of the best-selling CDs on CD Baby. Yet, I don't think there was a comedy section for the Junos when that came out.
No, there wasn't. No,
So
there was with the 43.0, the May Contain Nuts one, but I think I fucked up the submission.
for at the time.
How you do it, you upload each track, and I think I fucked it because I thought, oh well, I didn't get nominated, but then you in this industry, it's a pretty small industry, and I knew a bunch of the people that were on the jury to select or whatever,
Yeah.
each one of them was like, oh man, I had to listen to like 80 CDs, and I said, oh, did you hear mine? They're like, no, mine never made it in front of anybody is the thing. So, and that was like, that was a really good CD. I thought it was 80 minutes long and everything. So I just apparently fucked up the submission. Stupid story right out of the gate.
Look, let's face it. You're a comedian. Your job is what you do on stage. I mean,
Right.
part of the job is what you're doing off stage as well. But you get to where you are because of what you do on stage so well. And let's not diminish.
Thanks,
that
buddy.
whatsoever.
Thank you.
You are a crowd pleaser. You are a great entertainer, and that has been proven over and over again at festivals across Canada, on stages across Canada. You've been on CBC's Debaters how many times? Have you kept track?
Around 50. I lost track after a while, but I'm pretty sure it's still more than anybody else.
And why would they have you back if it wasn't for the fact that you were great at entertaining people?
Oh, thanks, man. On that subject, I have a question for you. I've noticed you in some commercials, the plumber Bob there. I saw that. Do you have an agent?
I do.
Because I was just let go by my agent today, my film and TV agent. I was just like literally 20 minutes ago, I got the email that I've been let go.
Oh.
And it hasn't been going. It's never been a good relationship. It's never. I've always been like, how did I not get submitted for that? Like people were doing things, and I'm like, why am I only ever getting fucking pervy director commercial guys? She never really believed in me, I think, is the thing, but we were friends and we thought we could make that work and have it transfer over, and it didn't work out. Maybe off the air you can sell me on your agent, or not. Maybe you don't want me to have the same agent as you. Another middle-aged white guy. Fuck you. I don't need my agent having any more middle-aged fucking chubby white guys.
Yeah. First off, I'm a lot chubbier than you are, and second off, I'm a lot older than you are. So and I'm a lot more ginger than you are.
You certainly are more ginger than me. I don't know about all the other things, but I really appreciate the framing of this setup. I'm not chubby. It's just a lot of hair. I just have a lot of hair on my face.
You get that. Yeah, you've grown that beard quite well over. Now, all right,
It's so that people later in posterity can remember how long the fucking COVID crisis was. This is how fucking long. This is how long.
This is 2 times I've cut my own hair. That's how long this has been.
I decided not to cut my hair too, so I shaved my head right out of the gate.
Ooh, yeah.
I did that in April 2020. And now this is where we are now.
There we are. Well, your big Just for Laughs gala, the Whitney Cummings one. You had your head shaved for that, or down to like a 1/4 inch all over.
What
Right?
was that? Sorry, I took off my headphones, forgetting that we were doing a fucking radio program here. What?
It's not the first time that you've shaved your head. You had your
No, I've
head.
done it. I kind of get sick of it and just do it. And every time I realize, holy shit, my forehead is even higher than I remember it.
I get a 5 head at this point, so it's all. It keeps
I think I
coming, young
broke
man.
my headphones. Oh shit.
Oh,
There we go. All right. Sorry
all right,
about that,
for
Paul.
those who are tuning in, I see we have some more people tuning in. We have a CD to give away as well as tickets to the May 21st PanDerek show.
Yeah, I'll
Type
grab that.
#win into the chat and for a chance to win. Now, there we are. And that's a CD that's up for win. So type it into the chat.
everyone always says CD. Like if I sell them at a show, like fuck, I don't even think I have a CD player anymore. What am I gonna play this? Fucking, I'm gonna have to borrow my wife's car to play this fucking CD.
Well, do you have download codes in with it or no? Just no.
Nope. No,
Right.
You don't need codes anymore, right? It's on Spotify and iTunes.
That's true.
I find that it's just a thing that people want to leave with something. I have T-shirts and things like that as well, but
and it's hard to.
So let your listeners can, if they win, the winner can choose either a CD or a T-shirt. How about that?
All right, the choice of a CD or a T-shirt. Though it's hard to autograph the T-shirts, right? Like that's one of the good things about the CDs.
I don't autograph it. I just put some of my DNA on it.
All right, a little bit of luminol.
Is this a preschool podcast? I didn't know.
No. This is labeled as for adults only. Now, New Bacon, No Bacon is the podcast that you've been doing. Did that started up over the pandemic?
No, it actually started right before. We got kind of lucky. Same as my album. So we started the Bacon No Bacon podcast. I think it was January or February of 2020. Just thinking, like, it must have been February because Abdul, who I do the podcast with, Abdul Butt, we tour together. Like he's my opener on my tours. So we're spending so much time together, fucking pissing our pants in the car when we're driving between like Halifax and whatever, Sydney, Nova Scotia, and just laughing. It'd be fun. So we should record some of these stupid chats. And that's how that was born. And it was just happened to be right before the pandemic when we had a lot of time on our hand to do something like a podcast. Mm-hmm. And the album, believe it or not, this album, which I have another one, PanDerek 2, is already in the can because I taped 2 headline sets March 14, 2020, the last night of shows before everything shut down. I was taping it for an album and I was going to put them all together. And Abdul, who is my partner and apparently business consultant, is like, dude, why are you trying to I was trying to mix them together, right? Like find the edit point to stick them together. Right. And then just choose the best thank you and good night or whatever. And he's like, dude, you may never be on stage again. Fucking, why don't you release 2 albums? So now I've got, instead of having one 80-minute album, I've got 2 45, 50-minute albums.
How much crossover material between the 2 albums? I know you're
none.
You're also going to the audience quite a bit.
None. I wanted it to be all different because the idea was to make one big one. Maybe a couple off the top, a couple of jokes off the top that were COVID. Kind of because it was the first couple of days of it, right? I just heard about this thing, so I'd be like, so I have a couple of COVID jokes, maybe that like a joke about toilet paper because remember in the first few days it was all we're out of toilet paper, but other than that, no, it's all different.
So you've had a very productive year considering that you've not been allowed to tour since March, like.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been a couple shows here and there. I understand. Were you doing many of the online shows?
Yeah, I've done a ton. And I have a ton this month. Actually, May is like I'm keeping busy with like my neighbor across the street need a deck and everything. I just built another deck for my friend. I'm just trying to stay handy because at the same time I want to pitch a home renovation show to a network somewhere.
Right.
Like it's not, it won't be typical in that, the way I describe it, I've been talking with friends who are trying to help me sort of packages because I've never actually pitched a show to a network or even a production company. So I have a mutual friend of ours, David Acker, who's had things actually get bought and optioned or whatever. So he's been helping me a little bit. But the idea behind the show is that it's, there's so many how-to shows, how to do this, how to do my show would be, sometimes it's a how-to show, sometimes it's a how not to show, sometimes I fuck up, sometimes I make some very possibly dangerous errors, it's not to quote.
Benjamin Boats just said that he's in for the show.
Thank you, Ben.
And if you want a chance to win, put #win into the chat, and we're going to have a draw a little bit later for that. Just making sure. I'm seeing the numbers go up and down, so I just want to make sure everybody hears about that. So, yeah, you and a handyman show would go great together, I think.
I think so.
Begg did something similar as well.
Really? I think he's hilarious.
He is hilarious. I think it was more about his wife's family were trying to find him a real job. And so that involved a little bit of construction, a little bit of fishing, commercial fishing.
Leave it to the in-laws to want to, like, they're just Googling what is the most dangerous jobs we could send this fuckface on. Crab fisherman in Alaska. Great, there we go.
Well, I think the family was they fish in the Gulf, maybe. Okay. But they're part of the family.
They're Canadian. His wife's Canadian.
No, sorry, the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay, but Ian lives in the UK, doesn't he?
No, Ian lives in
Texas,
San Diego
Texas
now, but he was living. It wasn't Louisiana. It was a southern state. So he was.
I know Ian is funny, but I think I'm confusing him with somebody. Who's the other Canadian comic, but similar
in the UK,
act?
Craig Campbell.
Craig, no, not Craig. I think he's a smoker. What's happening here? Huh? Yeah, I'm podcasting. I also keep all this soda pop right here in this fridge right here. That's why I just ordered pizza, and they're like, "Are you podcasting? Because we're really thirsty up here." Fuck you! Drink water. No, what's his name? How many kids do
you have living with you? Okay,
three. I have 3 kids.
There's Paul Meyerhog. I'm thinking they're all like. Is it? You thinking a BC comedian?
I think he's BC. He may be even Toronto. God, he's very, very, very funny. And we have not a similar act, but he doesn't shy away from things. Let's see, what's his name? Anyway, I wish I could give a fellow Canadian a plug, but I can't think of it.
This is one of the things that the cask is trying to do is raise our profile. So if you want to win the CD, if you want to win the tickets, just put #win into the chat. Your comedic style, though, since you were talking about similar styles, you're more of a storyteller, but you also have a really good rapport going into the audience. A lot of crowd work type stuff.
Yeah, I like to do that.
How would you describe your
that you pretty well nailed it. I'm a storyteller, and I would say I'm probably more improvisational than your typical working stand-up comedian. Like you talked about, it's the podcast about comedy, stand-up comedy, and writing. Writing's not, in terms of writing, like actually doing like writing. That's not my thing. I'll have a thing like this. I'll go up with like just words like that on a piece of paper, and then it becomes 15 minutes. It becomes 15 minutes in no time.
Whatever was on that piece of paper was completely blocked out by your green screen. It's like you.
That's good because right, yeah. It just says Ballers and Handmaid's Tale is on it. It's like it's my watch list. Oh yeah, look at that. That's so cool.
Oh wow,
that's like my own little green screen
over your face.
Oh my God, look at that. We've just created a new TikTok fucking filter with a green Post-it note. So yeah, my style is quite shoot from the hip. I mean, during the pandemic here, I'm worried a little bit that some of my tools are rusty because, other than the PanDerek shows that I do that are my own show, most of the work I've been doing has been either corporate or private where they want parameters. So I go in with more of a
scripted set.
Not scripted, but I write a set list down that I can't get into trouble with this. I can't get into trouble with that. I mean, I shouldn't get into trouble with this because they're fucking yeah, exactly. I could be doing a joke about the PTA meetings, but cunt can still somehow find its way into it. I don't. But you go in with the right mindset. I generally do stay out of trouble. I fucking dude. I did one, and as a comedian yourself, there's certain things that are just like corporate shows can often be like, oh no. Well, imagine this. I had a corporate show. First of all, it was French, but yeah, French, bilingual French. And I don't know I guess I'm 14 months too. I've been here with my English kid, my English girlfriend. My French, it's rusty. So it's terrible. My French is rusty. My English isn't that great. So I can't speak any language. And then, so this show was, first of all, so corporate, recorded. They wanted me to record it. So not only, like, at least with Zoom, you have a couple people that you can see and hear and get some feedback. This one, no, it's me in my office, just talking to my electronic equipment, recorded, super mega clean. And I did it. And I like, you start, I don't know if you're like me or how many recorded shows you've done, but I did it like 3 times and I'm like, I fucked up, and then start over. Finally, I got one. I'm like, this is good. I'm happy with this one. It's 30 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the other thing. We had a very specific time because they were doing like a simultaneous event across the country. So we had Jean-Paul and Laurie Elliott were doing like, so I think Laurie Elliott was doing the feed for the West Coast. Jean-Paul was doing like the Maritime, and I was doing Quebec. So mine was the only one that needed to be recorded for some. Anyway, I recorded it. So recorded daytime and French, and I did it. And they're like, you know what? You said bitch at the end. Could you redo it without the word bitch in it? And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? Bitch? First of all, it's in French, so bitch don't mean anything. It's in bitch. Tu peux traiter ta mère de bitch, doesn't matter. But anyway, so that was, but we have to do what we have to do, right? There was pre-COVID, I would have said, you know who's a bitch? You're a bitch. Fuck you. I don't ever want to do this again. But now,
pre-COVID, how many nights of a year would you be working?
My record, so not the year immediately previous to COVID, but my record number of shows was 282 shows in one calendar year. It's a lot of shows.
That's a lot of shows.
It was probably somewhere around 2000. It was right when I started to have some success, but like a lot of the shows were $100, but everybody wanted me, like around Montreal. Want to do a show? We're doing a show on Tuesday. We're doing a show on Wednesday. Come to my open mic. You could close the open mic. And I was just saying, I was in this mindset where you have to say yes to every single show. I quit my job. My family's depending on me. Just do every single show that there was. So I did 282 shows in probably 2010, somewhere between 10 and 12. The year before, so 2019, I probably did 170, probably 160, 170. That's including like, 2 show nights.
Yeah.
Like in some clubs you do 5, 6, 7 shows in a weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute, etc. Wow. That's an impressive tally. Now, when you started, like, how quickly did your act evolve?
Pretty quickly, I would say. When I found my real, I mean, it's always evolving, as any good artist will continuously evolve. But it probably took me about 2 years to find my actual voice, my delivery system, and to really be comfortable. Like, if you see my first time on TV was in 2005, which I had no business being on TV. I was 15 months into the game, and that's what prompted me to quit my job, though. Brent Shiais gave me my first TV spot, which is where I met Craig Campbell, which was a great story. Why I ended up with more time on this TV special. It was called Oh Canada. So they had brought Craig in, and like there was a bunch of people from all over the country, but Craig was coming in to kind of represent the Canadian that had moved abroad.
Right.
And apparently Craig had been mistreated or felt underappreciated at some point by the CBC. So he came in, it's TV, CBC, we're supposed to keep it clean. He came out and did fucking 12 minutes about fucking a moose or something like just literally, and fuck, and was saying moose vagina, like he was all the producer's like, what the fuck, tabarnak, I see, what is he doing? And I'm like, as I'm watching him, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm a rookie, I'm not an expert in TV, but that's 12 minutes extra that they're gonna need to fill at the end of this show. That's more time that I'm gonna get on TV. So I'm like, well, here's to Craig.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he had, being, he has a joke about the fact in the UK they call Canadians moose fuckers. And
That's
he
probably
just
what they
goes
did.
fully on into the details of like what that would entail. Um, that's weirdly similar to his big break on television.
That he was very green and very new.
Well, no, he was new. He wasn't. He was brought into. I don't know if it was MTV or whatever, but there was a Whistler mountaintop comedy show or something of that nature, and they had brought in Dennis Miller, Gian Garofalo, I think even Bobcat Goldthwait. They had a number of large stars, and he was supposed to be the warm up act because he was local,
right
in Alberta, and so he went up and he killed, and they were filming him as well, just for backup and also for stunt laughs. Dennis Miller went up and he was doing U.S. political jokes to a bunch of people on a ski hill.
Right.
And so it wasn't going.
Or the average age is like 24 or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up just going, well, if you want shit jokes, I'll do shit jokes, and did nothing but material about Manure. Just constantly. And so to fill out the show, they bumped Craig up, gave him more money and a bigger presence on that.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Kind of the same thing you just described happened for you.
Yeah, and I didn't know. Like when I got that, like I said, I was less than 2 years in. I get a TV show at Just for Laughs. So being a Montrealer, I know how big Just for Laugh is. And so I quit my job. I quit my job right there. You got Just for Laugh. I'm like, fuck you, bitches. I'm going to be a star. I'm doing Just for Laughs. And then, August rolls around and I'm back to $50 a set. And Ernie Butler judging me, like, how come you're not wearing a suit? Because I used to show up to the club from work, right? I'd always be in a suit. Now I've quit my job. I show up just dressed how I dress. And Ernie's like, all right, well, you're fucking going first then if you're not wearing a suit. Like the suit was what he was booking, why he was booking me.
He wanted the class on the show.
Yeah.
No, it's that was one of my things that so many comics, because I worked for Just for Laughs for years, and so many people would go, well, I've done Just for Laughs, I should have got something. And then the question is, how much work did you do while you were there? How many shaking hands, etc. Like you've met a lot of people at Just for Laughs that have given you the contacts, so it wasn't just getting that show, but the fact
the first time I didn't know what I was, but I've done 10 more since then, so I was able to work it a little bit better for sure.
Which is the thing that a lot of people don't understand for the first time that they do Just for Laughs. Now, did you have any influences that you felt like you kind of clung to when you started? And how quickly did you kind of move off from that? Or
it's so funny that I knew so nothing about comedy from behind the scene perspective. Like I knew I liked it. I'd always been a fan of stand up, but I didn't understand. Like even my first open mic I went to, Kevin Gazuar brought me to my first open mic, and I didn't even, a good comedian feels like it's all just spontaneous stream of consciousness stuff, and then I'm there with the other comedians and they're like checking their notes and stuff. I'm like, oh fuck, I was supposed to write something. Oh shit. Oh no. But thankfully it went well, because I'm also the personality type. If it wouldn't have gone well the first time, I would have been like, fucking stand up is stupid, I hate this is dumb, I'm leaving, fuck, I'm never coming back. But in terms of influence, in terms of what's my favorite comedian of all time is Richard Pryor. It hasn't changed. I rewatched Live from the Sunset Strip with no live from Long Beach, the red when he's wearing the red blouson there or whatever. With my kids just recently, and I'm like, fuck, this still holds up. This is still pure, great storytelling with huge punchline and self-deprecating, and yeah, he's still my number one.
Yeah.
But of comics that work today, I really still love Bill Burr. It's not popular to say, but I mean, Louis C.K. is a fucking talented stand-up comedian. Dave Chappelle blows my mind every time. It's to the point now where Dave Chappelle doesn't even need to be doing stand-up. And sometimes he masks what he's doing. He calls it stand-up. Like we're like watching new Dave did a little half an hour on his balcony or whatever, and you're tuning in to watch stand-up, but you're watching social commentary.
Yeah.
But it's still the most riveting, occasionally funny, but still poignant and funny and engaging and hyper intelligent, and fucking he's yeah. If there's somebody working right now that I would want to model myself after, it's him. But I'm not as brave. Sometimes I watch these guys do stuff and I'm like, I'm scared. I'm a chicken shit. I would never say that, and I would never say this.
Benjamin had said JFL is what all Canadian comics are working for. Not all, but I think a lot of them would definitely appreciate the bump. It's usually the big TV credit here in Canada.
Yeah, and I think when you're starting out too, it is Benjamin make a good point that that's what they want, and then there come a point if they don't get it in the first whatever they've deemed when they should have gotten it. If they don't get it, then it becomes fuck them, fuck Just for Laugh. They're not good to Canadians, and they're like it gets bitter. It's show business. It's people that get that upset about it. I'm like, it's not. I've done 10 of them. It's not. Yeah. None of them have launched 1,000 ships for me or anything. Like it's a nice feather in my cap. You were the Montreal show. That was the year that I did that TV show that I was talking about with Craig. I'm just gonna scooch over here and grab a beer.
All right, you grab a beer. I'm going to remind everybody that just put #win into the chat for a chance to get Derek's latest CD, as well as tickets to the PanDerek that's happening May 21st. So, what advice?
So noisy.
What advice would you give yourself if you could go back and give yourself some advice starting out? What would you say to yourself?
Maybe work an extra couple of years before you just quit your job. Just for Laughs is not going to turn into immediate fuck you money, which I ended up doing, but not for the employer. I started my own agency and did like consulting work for about 2 years, more than 2 years, because it was July 2005 was my first Just for Laughs, so I probably quit at the beginning of July. And then the last job that I did, I started an agency that did consulting and ended up finding a little niche, which was event marketing. So I worked in advertising, and then I ended up, when I started my own company, I was doing some image branding stuff, but I found I ended up partnering up with this guy who did a lot of event marketing. Like, it sounds dumb, but like, even like, remember you used to go in the metro and people would be like, sign up for this credit card, we'll give you a Montreal Canadiens towel or whatever. Some of it was that, some of it was product launch, where you go out and you just give samples of the thing. You hire some pretty girls and they hand out things, whatever. So it was basically like a staffing agency. And being that I was an aspiring actor, an aspiring comedian working in show business, I ended up knowing a lot of people that had a lot of time on their hands that needed money. So I was able to sort of staff, and I would end up making a cut per hour. Anyway, and the last one I did of those was April of 2008. So I had to slog it out for almost a full 3 years after quitting my job.
But I mean, 13 years later, you are last year you bought yourself a new Land Rover, was it?
No, yeah, I did. I bought myself a Range Rover. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the key the advice was slog out the day job a little bit longer.
A little bit longer, yeah, a little bit longer. And you know what? I can think of at least probably 24 nights in the last whatever since 2005, so in the last 16 years, where I probably should have drank a little bit less. I could. So also watch how much you drink when you're in a show business environment. But I'll never learn that. I mean, that's what advice I would give to myself, and myself would be like, "Fuck you, man! I'm in control." I wouldn't take the advice, but this Derek would like to tell that Derek, Tabarnak, you could have been the new Jason Bourne if it wasn't for that night in 2011.
We can't count on the should have beens. Ben is said, "Hey man, Lori Ferguson went 30 years before she got JFL, and
There you go.
very talented person as well." Now, all right. So you say that you don't write, but you definitely you work out ideas somewhat before you go on stage.
I work them out on stage. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I go up there with an idea. I think this will be funny. But even the punchlines come to me on stage. I know it sounds cocky. It almost sounds like I'm bragging. I'm just very lucky that, and sometimes it comes from nervousness. I remember my closer for a couple of years. I was working with Mike Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had just asked me, like I was early on, whatever. That was the other benefit I had. I started comedy at 31-year old. Excuse me. I was 31 years old. So my contemporary in life, socially speaking, were generally guys that had been doing it for quite a while, right? When I started out, like in my first year, the people that I befriended most were like Steve Patterson, Sugar Sammy, Joey Elias, Mike Patterson, guys that had already had like 8 to 10 years under their belt. Those were my contemporaries, socially speaking. So it was like, they would give me opportunities that normally a guy 1 year in wouldn't get.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so what ended up being my closer for a full year, maybe 2 years, was a joke. Mike asked me to open for him. So I was, you open, but you're kind of hosting at the same time, right? When you're on a two-person show. Yeah. And right before I was to bring him up, I was just, like, okay, this is time to go into the crowd. So I'm like, oh, yeah, but yeah, everybody having fun? Are you having a good time? Oh, you look at you, madame. Are you expecting a baby? And as I said it, I'm like, wow, she is only borderline. Is that a fucking baby bump? Is that not? I fucking panicked, and she saw the panic, so she just left me hanging out there. She's like, oh man, I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, ugh! And then I just started recounting, because I think at the time Andy had just been born. Maybe my youngest had just been born. So I just started describing to the husband. I'm like, oh my God, if it is a baby, this is fucking going to blow your mind. We like a vagina. We kiss it. We lick it. But the fucking baby just explodes the vagina. And I went on, like, Mike's like, what the fuck? I'm just going up, and now you're just crushing for like 12 minutes with this nervous energy, talking about how and then they say push, but that's not, they're just pushing everything in this area. So I'm fucking trying to get my baby out of my wife, and now there's shit flying everywhere. And then the doctor took these ugly scissors and started chopping up the vagina that I've grown to love. And it just out of nervous energy, because I had said the woman is pregnant and then was not sure that she actually was pregnant, I kind of panicked and ended up having like a solid gold 10 minutes that thankfully I had been recording, because when you're starting out, you record everything.
Record a lot, yeah.
And so probably I tried it 2 or 3 more times after that, and then it became my closing, my punch out joke for a year, I think.
So okay, a piece of advice that you would have for new comics is to definitely record everything, especially if you're working it out on stage.
I suppose, but no. More advice than that would be to just get on stage. Like I talked about before, that I used to just take everything, be on stage, be on different stages, different circumstance, different, even the parameters that they give you: be clean, be dirty, be this, be that. It's a pot room, it's a drunk room, it's a fucking head injury room. Do everything. Do fucking every show.
Injury room for me.
I have to say, the one of the things that made me better at what I do in a rapid in a rapid way, especially the way that I work, was that when I started to MC for Yuck Yucks. Because at first they were like, because I was new, and they're like, well, you know, we can't really headline you right now. You know, you're still coming up, but we have a bunch of MC work if you want. I'm like, I was just, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would love to. Yes, I would love MCing for a full year for Yuck Yucks. Like, I'd say I would MC so many shows that they'd be like, all right, we'll let you headline this one. But like MCing for Yuck Yucks, 9 out of 10 times that they booked me, made me such a stronger act, so much more adaptable, so much more. Yeah, it just kept me on my sharp on your feet. Like anything that's happened that you not only have to deal with, you have to acknowledge that a glass just broke, but then you also have to kind of, in a fun way, not in a chastising way, but in a fun way, say, okay, that was really fine because it's just me up here. I'm just a fucking loser that reads off names and shit like that. But if you could really try to behave yourself for this next guy, because the next guy is my lift home, you know, just coming up with those hacky little fucking things, but of your own. It made me a much better comic. MCing for Yuck Yucks, I owe them a debt of gratitude for really running me through the ringer.
Created the progression, like the advancement progression, that like in the northern states they kind of follow the Yuck Yucks method, whereas in the southern states they don't, and it kind of, I find it impacts a show, because like in Yuck Yucks you start out as a split middle, then host. Right. So they want you to have some chops before you're a host. Whereas if you go to the southern states, it's the comic with the least amount of experience.
The newbie,
is the host, and it can really change the tone of a show. Like having an experienced person up there doing it, and yeah, hosting.
It is.
I'm definitely, well, you know, I've been Yuck Yucks as well, so it's and I've left,
especially in those types of room. It's a comedy club where you never know what you're gonna get. That's like the comedy clubs, especially the more metropolitan a city you're in, the more, you know, you never know what you're gonna get. Like it could be 5 bachelorette parties in one room, and you're like, tabarnak, there's not one savvy comedy person in here. So the MC becomes like the most important job, right?
Yeah. I went and you were mentioning like bad kind of Christmas shows or corporate shows. I emceed for Dave Nystrom for a
funny
Christmas
story.
show.
I remember I said Richard Pryor was my favorite comic.
Yeah.
When Dave got deported back to Canada, he was a little bit down on his luck, and he was trying to sell some shit for some quick cash. Bought an autographed picture of Richard Pryor from Dave. Which, if there's any chance that Dave is listening to this, I will sell that back to you for $1,000.
After this year in this economy,
substantially more than I paid for it. I feel bad. I should probably make at least a photocopy of it or something and give it back to him. But sorry, you were opening for Dave Nystrom. Sorry about that.
So we're doing this show. It's in a bar that's sort of L-shaped. So there's like one company's up there, the other company is over there, and I think they had sold like 10 other tickets to just, you know, random people off the
regular
street. Regular people. And we show up, and we find out that the both companies just found out that their Christmas bonus was the comedy show and open bar.
Yeah, I've had that before. That's
it's like, sure, I'm glad that the person who made decisions likes comedy, but now the rest of them won't. And Dave, I had been touring with Dave for a while to know that when he had 15 minutes left, he had a joke that he would kind of look at his watch to just verify he had 15 minutes left before he went into the last. He was about 10 or 15 minutes in when he was doing that joke, and he looked, and just watching his shoulders slump.
Oh no. I have 30 left.
Yeah. It was a hammer toss of a show. Just seeing him going into crowd work at that point, it was like, oh, wow.
He's great. He seems to be thriving too. He's working as a like a movie prop master now, like a, not a set designer, but you know those guys that make everything. Like if you need a
fabricator,
severed hand or whatever, it's
special
with
effects. Or
JP Mass. I don't know if you know JP Mass. He's got a special effects company, and now Dave works with him. Works for him, I
really
guess. Works for him.
cool.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's good to.
He's
It's
a
a good
good
time to
guy.
move back to
He's
Canada.
very
It's a
funny.
good time to move back to Canada. See this crazy
Most
shit
definitely.
down there.
I look. We've got a lot of people watching. Put hashtag win into the chat for a chance to win a CD or a
Where do you
T-shirt,
see
your
that?
choice of
Is there any
CD
way
or
for me to
T-shirt.
see how many people are watching? How do you? I don't
I
see it
just
on
see it
my
because I
screen.
got a little button up top that lets me know it's less than 10. But there's some people watching, so chance to win also tickets to the PanDerek show that is happening May 21st. We definitely want to have that now. Kind of we get two more kind of sections to go through. I want to ask you this past year, everything that's happened, the social impact of what's happened, not just the pandemic that's happened. Like, how has that affected you, other than the slowdown to work?
Well,
Like,
I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, it's been
Barb
so
Moss is saying hello.
how can I describe it? Hi, Barb. Uh, my lifestyle was already like this. I just stay at home in my underwear all day, and the kids go to school, and my girlfriend go to work. Those first 6 months where things were really locked down, where everybody was home all the time, it was
Yeah.
just my family discovering what my regular lifestyle was and just being fucking judgy about it. Like, seriously, Dad, it's 3 o'clock. You're not gonna put on fucking pants. I'm like, what the fuck? I used to jerk off in this room when you guys were at school, so fuck off. So it turns out, like as we go on, every conversation I have, if the conversation veers to any serious, excuse me, any serious kind of vein, like where you're talking about, like is the economy going to recover, and like those poor people that work in the restaurant field or whatever. Every one of them at the end of the conversation, I'm like, and that's why I want to move to the country. I just want to move to the country and be by myself. Apparently, that's what's happened. My whole vocation, my life, what gives me my lifeblood is talking to large group of people. But after the show, everybody fuck off. See, I just want to be sitting in my underwear on a pier at a fucking the property that I own. It's weird. It's a dichotomy of who I am, and I'm obviously I'm joking. I've really enjoyed spending time with my children. I've gotten to know my children. On Mother's Day, my mother, I don't even care anymore. But we, all la loi. My mother came to visit on Mother's Day, and I fed her supper and stuff, and then she left, and I ended up getting drunk with my kids and my sister, and it was super fun. It's great. Like people, I don't know. It's not been terrible for me is the thing. I guess it's not changed that much. I've as a father wanted to show my kid that I did lose 70% of my revenue, but it turns out I was spending a lot of my money on vacations and pants, because now that we can't go on vacations and I don't need pants anymore, Chris, I've managed to pay all my bills and everything. I don't know. So I'm very lucky. Paul. What I've discovered is that I'm very, very, very lucky. I realize now how well I was doing before the pandemic hit, and I've been able to survive through the pandemic. Just like this PanDerek that's coming up on May 21st is my 10th one, and people are very generous. First of all, people that enjoy what I do when they sign up to watch a show. I have a suggested price of $5 or $10, and most people give way more than that. And then there's other people, and it's funny sometimes because it's pay what you want. I suggest $5 or $10 for like $5 for YouTube, $10 for Zoom. But I'm telling them you could pay 50 cents, you could pay $1 if you want. If you don't have money, just write me an email and I'll send you the link for free. It's free if you want. If you can't afford it, it's free. And sometimes
People
when I
can get
get
it free here now if you put hashtag win into
that's
the
right,
chat.
they can get it for free, and a CD or a T-shirt, also.
CD or
Which
T-shirt. If you think CDs are too old fashioned for you, there is a
Mhm.
T-shirt. Uh,
And we even have ladies T-shirts, I have ladies t-shirts, which are not selling as much like hotcakes as I thought. I got a whole bunch of ladies tees, but this is what's on the t-shirt is my face. And then I'd be like, hey, you want a t-shirt? And they're like, no, I don't want fucking your face on my tits. What do you mean? And I'm like, I'm not, you don't have to wear it inside out to see. I'm on the outside of your tits. Jesus, sleep in it. I don't know. So anyway, apparently apparently the t-shirt idea was more for men.
Yeah. I did do tank tops that sold well with women, and I had a couple samples done up of G strings, which sold well with
Good
my
for
my
you.
good buddy, the Love Doctor.
Good for you.
Had his take on that. If and talking about supporting the shows, there's a little link running at the bottom. If you want to support this show and the various shows I do, just go to that link tree, and the first thing says "Buy me a drink." What you would normally spend on a drink, I definitely appreciate it. It helps pay for keeping this up. This wonderful fake brick wall that's behind me. Uh, there not just the pandemic has happened in the past year. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the States, which has sort of had a trickle effect on us. I mean, Trump is out. There is the
But
Black Lives Matter
they're
movement.
still counting in Arizona though, if
They're
you could
still
believe
counting in
that shit.
Arizona.
They're
Yeah,
still
no.
counting in Arizona.
It's what, the fourth time now? The fourth time, because there was two audits
It's
already done of the election, and
yeah,
now this is the fourth count through.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then shit in Israel and Palestine is going
Yeah,
mental right now. Like how I live in Brassard. I don't know where you are, Paul, in the city. Where do you live?
I'm in Verdun. I'm
Verdun.
just
There you
I'm
go.
I'm just straight down the hill from the nest.
It's like the Brassard of the island, Verdun. It's like just you're close to a little bit of water, but man, I read the newspaper in the morning and I look out as I'm just happens to be where because I smoke in the kitchen. There's a fan that pulled the smoke out, whatever. So I'm standing there reading my newspaper, smoking into my thing, looking out the window into my yard, and I'm reading the news and I'm like, oh my god, Derek, you won the life lottery. You're living in Brassard, Quebec. You're living in the suburb of the greatest city in the greatest province in the greatest country in the world, and it's I'm so lucky. Like it's so we have problem, but we live in a great fucking place. And there's a story that gun violence is increasing in Toronto and Montreal.
Yeah,
Nothing compared to what's deemed almost internationally and probably mostly by them, but the greatest country in the world. You pick one major city, there's more people shot and killed in Chicago or fucking Detroit in a year than in our whole country, dude.
yeah.
Like, there's shit here. Of course, there's shit here. Like, we can't. We're a 400-year-old fucking city. We still can't finish it. That's see, everything is still being built somehow. And yeah, this is off topic, but I live in Brassard, so that that train, that light rail thing that they're going. It's going all the way to the West Island or whatever. And I was just driving by. They're using old like San Francisco style, like towers with electric thing, like the train's gonna have to grab it off a stick off the back of it or something.
Okay.
Just really ugly power lines with a electric wire following the whole, like it's 2021. You see the speed train there in Japan. It looked like a fucking rocket, and it's so clean. And not us. I see. We're just gonna fucking encompass it with a bunch of shitty looking wires everywhere. Like this is 2021 advancement in Montreal. It's gonna give it that old Montreal feel, but across the whole fucking city. I thought
How
that was
can we
pretty
make
shitty.
a high-speed rail train feel like cobblestones?
Yeah, yeah. Everybody, don't forget to put these marbles under your seat. There you go. It's
Yeah,
free with your bus pass.
that's one of the things about Montreal. If you can't complain about the construction or lack of, it's not Montreal.
Luckily, we always have the weather to fall back on. If ever there's not enough orange cones in your life, you could just switch it to the weather because the weather's been shit too.
But we haven't had to be out in it as much. That's the other thing of the pandemic. There, what you've been doing these Zoom shows. You kind of like being able to perform with no pants on. What's Do you think you're going to be keeping up an online show presence? I mean, Bacon No Bacon, that was conceived to happen before the lockdown,
Right.
uh, but you're going to be doing. Do you think you'll still be doing online shows? Because you've obviously had to invest a little bit into your system to be able to do these shows.
Yeah. Well, I wonder. I wonder myself. 'Cause it's funny you asked that because yesterday or maybe even today, I did like a little promo on Instagram or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
PanDerek 10 coming soon. This is a deck I built, but at the same time, let me slip in this plug for my show.
Yeah.
And I've said this for the last five of them because every when this started, we thought it was going to be 3 weeks and then maybe 3 months. The last four shows, I've been like, this is probably going to be the last one. And today, when I did the video or yesterday, I was like, this is probably going to be the last one I have to do before we get out. So maybe I would do it again just for if for only posterity.
To maybe keep in touch with some of your audience that you don't want to
Right.
see until.
Yeah, because that was shocking too. When I do these PanDerek show, I've had people sign in from California, Oregon, West Virginia, Thailand, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand. Like, there's been people that wouldn't catch me if I was fucking just doing the circuit of, hey, yeah, New Zealand, you could make it to Halifax. That's pretty close, right? I don't know.
uh, Now, who's on these shows? There's you. There's Abdul. Is
Mm-mm,
it
just me.
just
My
you?
son, my son generally introduces me.
Yeah.
Just between you and me, doesn't do a very good job, but it's just me. Yeah, it's just me, just me. Which has put pressure on. Like we said, I'm not the guy that's right. I don't write
Mm-hmm.
jokes. Like, I'm not David Pride sitting there fucking mastering like this is the perfect sentence. No, I need to drop one syllable and where's my fucking thesaurus and I'm gonna make this the most well constructed perfect joke sentence. I'm not
Uh,
that guy.
are you saying that out of jealousy because of him beating you at the debaters, or are you saying that just out of respect of his skill? Uh,
Beating me at the debaters. Did he beat me? I'm pretty sure I won. I'm pretty sure I won that debate.
you
What the
you've only
fuck?
faced him more than one time.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Anyway, it doesn't matter to me. Yes, to me, David Pride is arguably one of the most prolific comedy writers in Canada in terms of being able to structure a joke and use just the right word, the right number of word, the actual right word where there's a fucking double entendre. Uh, he's just fucking great. He's really funny. He's and he's one of my favorite people too. I love the guy so much. But
Sweetheart.
that wasn't the point. It was just, like I said, I mostly write on stage, but
Yeah.
I haven't had a stage now for 15 months. So when it comes to these PanDerek shows, I really feel a pressure. Like, see, I did an hour and 20 minutes last time, that I'm gonna try not to do any of that this time. But Chris, what do I have to talk about? It's only so much time you can burn by talking about your lack of wearing pants for the last, for the last 40 days since you've seen me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to come up with different scenario. Last time, my girlfriend actually brought up an actual life scenario that happened where we were trying to do a good deed, driving sharing our Uber with this blind guy who turned out to be too drunk and was just vomiting in our Uber and fucking eating the vomit to try to hide the evidence. And anyway, so I ended up getting a new 12, 13 minute on the PanDerek about that. But so that's the pressure for me, is these online shows, is that I haven't had, 20 stages. Normally in a month, I would have done 10 other shows that I would have come up with some new funny ideas that I could share. So I'm often trying things for the first time with this audience that is tuned in from their house to hang out with me. So
From all
I,
around the
I
world.
try hard. Anyway, I try hard to make it fun and to, but it's also the age of Greta Thunberg. I'm like, if you guys can't handle recycling, I'm just trying to recycle some of these jokes. Reduce my carbon dick joke footprint over here.
We're about to wrap it up. No one has bit for the hashtag win. We need at least one person to in it, and if you go in for the hashtag win right now, you pretty much will be winning it.
You will win it.
So
I'm still here, Paul. I'm
let's.
just
Yep,
the fridge isn't far.
the fridge isn't far. So let's get those in there. The hashtag win. See if you can win the latest PanDerek, as well as the PanDerek CD or T-shirt, your choice.
Yep.
Uh, and but
I had a question for you. I forget what
oh,
it is
okay.
now. Well, yeah, because you're just asking me questions. It's probably nice as an interviewer to be, oh, somebody cares about
Surprised.
what I feel or think.
Yeah.
How about you? How's the pandemic been for you?
Uh, it,
Are you married?
it's been a little rough. I have a primary girlfriend that I haven't been able to see for the past 2 months. She's just now recovering from
Primary
COVID.
girlfriend. Probably
Sorry,
because you call her a primary girlfriend. That's probably why she's not fucking knocking
my
down your door.
well, we sort of got married, except we just didn't bother to tell the government, and we didn't want to live together. So
Oh,
it's a new age.
that's very
It
smart.
works
I'm
out
pretty.
fairly well, except when her youngest had to go back to school. That meant COVID protocols because where I rest my head, one of my roommates is immunosuppressed.
Oh shit.
So that meant that with the young one in school, the risk was kind of high. So
Yeah.
we've been having late night phone calls, texting when we can. She works a lot, so
You've got a immunosuppressed roommate. I've got intellectual suppressed roommates. Meaning my children. My children are fucking idiots.
that sounds like it's a lot more fun. We have
But like they're adults. Like my kids are all adults now. It's like I really like the census. I don't know if you had to do the census.
yeah.
I did the census, and as I'm answering the questions, they're like uh describing your thing. Like, are you single parent or married parent with without children, married parent with children, single parent with children, adult with roommates? And I'm like, fuck, there's, you know what, both. I don't know which one I am. I have children, but they're fucking grown ass people that just like a roommate will fucking eat my cashews that I tried to hide behind the fucking cereal box, but they find it and eat it like little fucking scavenger fuck faces. So I feel like I just have the worst roommates ever that I am obliged by law somehow to love.
Give them the
Bullshit.
little mask so they can be the raccoon scavengers
Yeah.
they are. Uh, there is one question I wanted to ask you, and I almost forgot. I'm so glad we have an entry also into the draw, uh, and but my question that I have for you is when it comes to task writing, because you said you're not a fan of writing stuff out, but what you've done the debaters like 50 times, like how much do you prepare for that?
Um, Definitely way more than I do for stand up, but probably less than most debaters do. Um, like I write it, they because you know, like this is kind of a behind the scenes of the debaters that the debaters
Mm.
don't love us to talk about, but there is a writing deadline and a writing task that they want to basically just to make sure that you're not stepping on each other's toes too much. Like if you know, like if I'm for the resolution and they're against the resolution, but we have basically the exact same joke, just you know, with
Yeah.
a twist, they try to point you like to not do that. Or sometimes because if you know the debaters, they write a lot of setups for Steve to do.
Mhm.
So like
Make sure that he
both,
doesn't have. Yeah.
and they're so full with puns that there's really a low risk that I that I've written a fucking shitty pun in my bit. But they, you
Steve
know, so
Patterson, the beloved.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And yeah, I love my Steve. Steve is who just celebrated his 50th birthday, by the way. If you'd
Mhm.
like to tweet a happy birthday to Steve, go for it, everybody.
He's
Um,
please do that. He's younger than me.
but there is a writing deadline to that, so they want you to, you know, share your opening rant with them and your closing thing. So I do it. I go through the exercise, but I have been known to deviate from that based on what my opponent will say. Like if they jump on the point of the debate and the audience loves it, well, I'm gonna take a little bit of time of my little thing to try to
Bring
discredit
back some
that,
points.
or
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm gonna be like, and you mentioned whatever, you mentioned single malt whiskey was better than whatever. I don't know anything about whiskey. It's just because there's a bottle of Johnny Walker right there that's got me thinking about it. But no, there is a writing deadline, and that is the beauty of radio too. Whereas, like even this, a podcast, but people can see us, right? So
Yeah.
I would feel so stupid to be like, well, Paul, my experience on the debaters has been very, I get that feeling as I have a script and I can read it because it's the radio. No one's gonna see me, but as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, you've been looking, like I'm reading it, but in my mind, I'm saying, you've been looking at your paper for too long. Just fucking look up and engage somebody. And then I look up and then I'm like, I have no idea where I was on the page. So I just start saying shit. And another thing, my opponent here smells like piss. And it's basically my whole career has been driven by nervous energy. I just put myself in these situations where I get stressed and start saying ridiculous things that people tend to find funny, and I've been very lucky, and I'm gonna knock on some wood for that. I'm lucky.
Boom.
Hi, Alyssa. I just saw Alyssa pop up here. Hi, Alyssa.
Yeah. Alyssa said, great talk. Really enjoyed it. David Levy said, great interview. Thanks, guys. David is the only person that's done the hashtag win. But I really want to show off the tool. So David's going to win. And let's just run through that.
And we mentioned off the top that I need an agent. David Levy sounds like a perfect agent name.
David actually has the same agent I have.
Is he an actor? He's in the same.
All right. So the winner is actually David Levy. David Levy has won.
Wicked. Good work, David.
Neat little tool that I've got with this. So I wanted to try it out. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll David, I'll get your details so I can give it to Derek, so Derek can get you the code to watch on YouTube, and let me know if you want a T-shirt and what size, and or if you want the CD, David. Thank you very much for being part of this, Derek. Did you have a good time?
Did, man, I did. I'm very happy to be in my little dungeon right beside the beer stash. It's great, great spot. I might, in fact, you might end the podcast. I'll probably stay here for another hour and a half before I actually go tell my family it's over. They'll come to the door and be like, "Get out, you fucking assholes! You're ruining my career. Just fuck off. That is working over here. Can't you hear me saying cunt and shit and dick? This is my job."
Dad has moved into the garage permanently.
Yeah.
The dad troll. Just you leave the garage to go grab the cashews. That's it.
That's it.
All right, David saying, let's meet up. Let's thank you everybody for watching. We're going to end the broadcast, and take care. And Derek.